So here's a thought for today. What do FBI hostage negotiation tactics have in common with 2,000-year-old Stoic philosophy? The power of a single word or a single phrase. Wipe out imagination. Those three words, that phrase, was written 2,000 years ago by Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius in his private journals. Those journals are now published as the book Meditations. Aurelius was a Stoic philosopher and one of the most powerful men who ever lived. He spent his years as the Roman emperor leading armies on the frontier, while he himself suffered from chronic, debilitating stomach ailments. He also presided over Rome during the Antonine Plague, which was a pandemic that devastated the Roman people. Through all of this, he wrote privately about one thing above everything else: how to keep his mind clear. In Book 9 of Meditations, Aurelius gave a name to the worrisome noise in one's head. Phantasia, the imagination. Thoughts and impressions that the mind generates constantly that can feel real, scary, vivid, impending, but have nothing to do with actual reality and what happens in our life. I've been dealing with this a lot myself lately, and I'm sure you may have too. For me, I have a new baby at home. I'm attempting to build a new business from scratch. I've got no salary coming in. My mind finds no shortage of reasons to spiral. What if money runs out? What if I lose my house? What if I can't provide for my family? Now, none of that is happening. None of that is even close to happening, but my brain doesn't care. And I have found through brutal firsthand experience that if left unaddressed, these kinds of thoughts really only serve to make the situation worse. But there's good news on this front of struggling with one's own mind. Research from Penn State has found that 91% of the worries that we struggle with on a daily basis never actually come to pass. Now you might be thinking, well, that's great, but it doesn't actually make me feel any less worried. So what do we actually do about it? All of these troublesome thoughts. Here's what's really been working for me. I label it. By that, I mean, as these worrisome thoughts come to my mind, I use one simple word: imagination. That's it. That's what I've been using. When a worrisome thought comes to my head, imagination. There's my imagination going again. Now there's some real hard neuroscience behind this now. UCLA researcher Matt Lieberman put people in an fMRI scanner for one of his studies and found that when you label a thought or emotion in this way with a single word, activity in the amygdala, which is your brain's alarm center, essentially, measurably drops. Your prefrontal cortex, or the logical part of your brain, then takes over. So you literally go from emotional and reactive to rational. Dan Siegel refers to this as name it to tame it. One thing that I find interesting is that a very similar principle shows up in FBI hostage negotiation tactics. Chris Voss is a former FBI investigator and author of the New York Times best-selling book, Never Split the Difference. In the book, Voss discusses using labeling to diffuse tensions in high-stakes hostage negotiations. By naming other people's emotions out loud, they can reduce the complexity of the interaction and create clarity. So it's the same type of mechanism, but a completely different application. So Marcus Aurelius was using the psychological mechanism of labeling 2,000 years before brain scanners and the FBI. The simple phrase, wipe out imagination. 3 words to label any rogue thoughts and clear the slate of his mind. To paraphrase the spirit of what Aurelius was effectively trying to say, as a worrisome thought came into his mind, he might have said, "There you go again, my imagination. Off with you now. I have work to do." So, I have found great success with this, labeling as a mechanism. I encourage you to try it too. The next time a thought comes to your mind that's worrisome or scary or stringy or complex, try reducing it down to a single word or a single phrase. Imagination. You're not fighting with the thought. You're not grappling with it. You're not suppressing it. You're just naming it. You're calling it out into existence. And in doing so, it loses its power over you. So that's the practice. I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks.